ball gets in, another wide open three.
Pierre Cardin.
Defers to Booker for the long range.
Phoenix. Phoenix Suns, and you know we up next. Yeah, we working for that championship ring. We the valley, it ain't nothing but a thing. Phoenix. Phoenix Suns, and you know we up next. Yeah, we working for that championship ring. We the valley, it ain't nothing but a thing.
Welcome, everybody, to the Aussie Suns Fans podcast. I am your host, Gavin, and we are here with Bandana Nate. How you going, man?
I'm sexy, Nate. I'm channeling our guest from weeks ago.
Nate.
I'm channeling that guest we had on weeks ago. He looked so good in one. I'm bringing it back.
Is this because Boyd said you couldn't pull it off?
Yep. And everyone knows
and what about the bandana?
Hey,
Bob and Boyd, how you going, Boyd? You're here. You didn't go to mute. Fucking fantastic, right?
Nobody did fucking pause.
He froze, and yeah.
It doesn't matter what he's on. It doesn't matter what he's on.
At the start of the show, there's life, death, taxes, and Boyd fucking up at the start of the show. How you going, Boyd?
Good, mate. How are you?
Fabulous, mate. Good to see you. Good to see you moving and not frozen. Who's ghosting you?
Boyd, we can't let this opportunity go to hang shit on him, can we? Like, fucking, let's go 7:30 start over here, 8:30. What is it? Whatever fuck early start it is for you. This motherfucker's 30 minutes late and then goes off to the glory hole, and we're still not starting till 10 past, quarter past.
Let me get something straight with you guys right now. Nate, you cannot pull off bandanas like our guy Nate Hill. The guy's name was Nate Hill, who was on our pod the other day. You can't do it like him, man. You look like a fucking dickhead. And Gavin, that baseball Suns shirt, it's a cool idea. You can't fucking pull that shit off either, mate.
I pull everything off, mate.
No, you fucking pull yourself off. That's about it.
I am magnificent.
That's about all you pull off, mate.
You are just jealous. That is all. You are just jealous.
Fuck, guys, my apologies. I was supposed to have Leesus come on today's show, but I sent him a voicemail, gave him a bit of a ribbing for not getting back to me, and then inviting him on.
You did, yeah. You so just for the people out there, Boyd has trouble listening.
Serious trouble.
And he's frozen again, so this is perfect timing. What's wrong with your internet today, Boyd?
I don't fucking know, mate. I'm not bouncing off the
don't
fucking
get aggressive at me, mate. Don't get aggressive at me. It's not me that's running your internet, all right? You don't need to take it out on me.
Okay. So, yeah, I tried to get Lisa's, and I just misheard one word in his reply, and it's actually he's going to come on later on in the week or later next week. And, it's going to be we'll be able to well, look, one thing I want to let Lisa's know is that we give him a fair bit of shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to give him shit if he comes on. There's no doubt about it.
But,
no. This is a good way to get him on, guys. Just a good way to get him on.
No, but he does a lot of good shit too, which really offsets it. So we'll talk to both, and we'll get his fucking side and get his insight on the fucking off season.
Now
we're already there. Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's hear the voice recordings, because when you played this to me, I thought this guy doesn't sound like a dickhead, and you guys put so much shit on him. So let's give the guy some nice juice. Play your little voice recordings for us, Boyd.
No, he's not going to play it. He's not going to play it. Look at him, fucking soft. That's a private conversation between Boyd and Lisa's, mate. And when they talked about rubbing things out together, like, we shouldn't put that on the pod. We've got a couple of our favourite.
He was a gentleman in his reply. That's all I heard.
He was. We've got a couple of our favourites in the chat today. Justin, go fuck yourself. Is Icehouse the greatest Australian rock and roll band? No, you're wrong.
Do they wear bandanas?
Founder, Jake, you're wrong. Icehouse is great. They have 2 good songs, but they're not the greatest Australian rock band. You are forgetting about AC/DC, INXS, and many others. Many others. Anyway, we haven't had any games to talk about recently, unless you want to talk about the Mercury.
I'll always talk about
That's pretty much the only games going on at Phoenix at the moment is the Mercury. So we can't talk about that. But let's talk about we've lost Boyd.
It happens.
He's not interested in the Mercury at all. Let's go back to the coaching merry-go-round. Some shit's happened over the last week. Apparently, we're down to the last 5 or 4, or haven't wrapped it up at all, depending on which source you want to listen to.
Exactly.
Which source are you going to listen to, Nate?
I mean, there's probably credit to all of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if James Jones just pulls something completely out of the blue that we haven't even heard of. You know, something like a Steve Nash or fucking bringing Dan Marley back. Like something like that wouldn't surprise me if James Jones went and did that after all the reports are pointed elsewhere.
Yeah, it would. And that's the thing, right? It's the Phoenix Suns are the kings of not letting much go in the media. So we actually, I think with everybody that's talking about everything that's happening at the moment, we've got no idea which way this fucking coaching thing's going to go. Boyd, what are your thoughts? Do you believe Woj? Do you believe Shams? Or do you believe Chris Haynes? Because there's 3 different sources at the moment. Which one?
I just
on the coaching carousel, Boyd.
I just came back in. I lost the connection. What was the question?
The question is, what's happening with the coach? I said there's 3 different sources out there at the moment, right? We've got Woj is saying there's 4 people. Shams is saying there's 5 people.
This is the most professional
pod
ever.
You can have waffles. Go.
This is right up there with you 4 dickheads at Steve's place.
we got Woj, we got Shams, and we got Chris Haynes, who they've all got different sources. So Woj is saying we're down to 4. Shams, he's saying we're down to 5, and Haynes is saying it's not even in the end game yet. So who do you believe? Who's going to coach us?
I tend to believe Bill Simmons.
Which one do you believe?
Bill Simmons and Gambadoro have had takes on this as well. Now, Bill Simmons all but said that Kevin Young has a job stitched up. It's all but fucking made official. So I think Kevin Young is going to get it. But now we've got fucking Nick Nurse pulling out of the Milwaukee Bucks interview process. He's not.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, but so now people are starting to think that maybe, you know, and I think Shams reported that he's pulled out of Milwaukee. So now people are obviously jumping straight on that. Oh shit, he must be with the Suns now.
That's exactly what Monty did, right? Monty pulled out of the Lakers and signed with us.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So look, I think there's a certain amount of. I don't think that the Phoenix Suns head office are really. I think they're probably still over 5, 6. There's probably more candidates out there we don't even know about. Like, I don't think that any of them are just completely. I don't think any of them are completely wrong.
And that's the thing, right? That's what I was trying to say is when we look at the media piece from the Phoenix Suns, whether it's injuries, whether it's rumors, whether it's trades, whether it's anything else, the Suns really don't leak a hell of a lot, right? This could be anything. As long as it's not Doc Rivers. Because if it's Doc Rivers, I'm going to start following the fucking Seattle Supersonics when they come in.
I hope it is Doc Rivers just so as we can fuck you off.
The Aussie Sonics Fans podcast sounds really good.
But if it does come down to Kevin, Doc, or Nick, I think we're all probably in unison that it should be either Kevin or Nick because.
Definitely not Doc.
I agree with Saul's comments on Doc when he was quite elaborately saying he's washed up, he's done, he's had his chance, he's fucked all these chances since he won a chip. I think between Nick Nurse and Kevin, though, where you guys sit if it was those two candidates? And according to Boyd, it wasn't all stitched up.
And just on that, let's talk about it because everyone's going to keep bringing it up. There's articles and news out there now that Ty Lue is not leaving the Clippers. So it's the only reason I'm not going to bring that up. So
but you still did.
Boyd, yeah, because people are going to ask. I just wanted to brush that off straight away. Boyd, Nick Nurse or Kevin? Which way are we going?
I'm going with Kevin.
You want tried or untried is basically where we're at.
I don't think. Oh, look, I heard. I've heard. I'm on the fucking grapevine, guys. I've heard a lot of good shit about Kevin Young and about he has the locker room. They all respect him. They all like him, and apparently, he had a lot of good things to bring to the table. He didn't get them all on the table with Monty. But yeah, look, I think everyone's got faith in him being able to make adjustments, like we all fucking.
So like. I'm gonna throw something random out there then, and see whether or not you can respond to this. If it's Kevin, why the fuck didn't he do that while he was assistant coach with Monty? What the fuck was he doing? Just sitting on the bench?
No. How do you know?
We've all got a problem. Like he's sitting there, sitting on the bench. Why didn't he make these changes? Why are we hiring a guy who sat behind Monty?
Listen, Linda. How do you fucking know that he wasn't just being ignored on some of the good stuff he came with?
Come on, mate. This is a world-class professional fucking organization. You think that seriously that an assistant coach like Willie Green that we had before, now we've got Kevin, who's the number one man. You think he was being ignored?
Okay, you can talk about it being a world-class organization all you want, just to fucking... Hey, look, it's a world-class organization. They wouldn't have him at the fucking table being interviewed if they didn't think that he had the fucking goods, dickhead.
Your answer is fucking shit, mate. Like,
mate,
let's be honest.
We've all got professional jobs.
We're going back to your fucking shit.
We all manage up. We've all managed up. We all know how to communicate to our boss in a language he understands to fucking listen to us. He clearly didn't get through to Monty. And Monty's not exactly one of those hard-nosed guys, right?
No, he's not. He doesn't seem like a cunt of a boss. But this is the thing. Like, this guy was sitting next to Monty, and he wasn't able to make those adjustments that we all wanted. He wasn't able to impact the squad as we all wanted. But all of a sudden, we're all sitting there now going, let's hire this guy. Boyd, your philosophy, everything you said is basically you want us to rehire Monty.
No. Yes. No. Okay. No, I do want us to rehire Monty. I don't think that we got to see Kevin Young coach the Phoenix Suns last season. From what I've read, from what I've heard, is that he had a lot of good things that he was coming to Monty with that didn't get played.
Nice work, Kev. I swear this is like an episode of Ted Lasso.
This is
all the shit that's going on in the background.
This is why we speak about being more professional on this fucking podcast, and
we can't.
Hold on.
How the fuck did you get a tradie on a Sunday?
Hey,
it's a mate. See? Hold on. Willie Green's thrived since he left Monty, hasn't he? Yes, Justin. Willie Green has thrived in a coaching role. But I will also say that Willie Green was part of a coaching staff that took the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals. And at that stage, we were more than happy with the output of the coaching staff, right?
Okay, so
Gavin, you're saying, and hold on, I'm not finished because Justin's saying my logic's horribly flawed.
It is.
But it really isn't. When you look at the coaching staff when Willie Green was on it, we went to the NBA Finals. We had what we said at the time was the best coach in the world.
Oh, just turn off now. Let's just do this again tomorrow.
Now, my question is, and I'm only playing devil's advocate, right? I'm not sitting here saying that Kevin Young's the wrong choice. What I'm trying to get across here is we had an issue with the coaching staff, and all Phoenix Suns fans had an issue with the coaching staff, right? Except for Boyd, who had some sort of love for fucking Monty. But every Suns fans had an issue with the coaching staff, and we're going to hire the right-hand man of the guy that we had an issue with, who sat next to him and was part of that staff. Devil's advocate-wise, how does that make sense? This is what I'm trying. And guys that are in the chat, I'm going to throw the link up so people can jump on and tell me how much of a fuckhead I am with this argument. But there's an opportunity here. I just want an explanation as to why this makes sense. Because while I don't disagree with Kevin Young taking the job, what Boyd said was just fucking bullshit. Sorry, Boyd. But
no,
give me real justification as
manners.
to why we're doing that.
Okay, Gavin, if that's your thing, and I can see you're sitting on both sides of the fence really well here, mate. Well done, devil's advocate and all. Fuck me. Hey, well, why are we even looking at all these other coaches who have fucking failed in the playoffs? Like fucking
They're the only ones available.
Why do you do this though? And again, you did this last time. Oh, I want Eric Spoelstra then. Stop being a fuckhead.
No,
Tell me why. This guy has history sitting on our fucking bench. So
Gavin,
explain to me how he's going to make a difference.
Gavin, this has nothing to do with Eric Spoelstra thing.
It does, because you just said, why don't we look at everyone that failed in the playoffs?
And listen to me. Now, Eric Spoelstra argument was about contracted people. I'm not talking about contracted people. I said, why are we giving the time of day to coaches who have just been fucking outed from the playoffs for not being able to get the job done? If we're just going to take that as the be all and end all of their fucking coaching career.
This is the thing. This is what I love about you, Boyd. You grabbed the tiniest little fucking piece of what I said and ran with it to sell your narrative.
No, I'm not.
I asked the question.
Bring you guys back to some fucking sense.
I asked the question: Why is it that Kevin Young is a leading candidate in this when he was the guy who sat on the bench next to Monty, which clearly, with Monty getting the arse, was a reason for our failure last year? What's the justification of it?
So anyone outside the final winner of the fucking chip this year is just fucking no good.
Oh, my fucking God.
We haven't seen Kevin Young with the top job, mate.
Well,
okay, that's a justification then. Give it to me. That's what I'm asking you for. Do I have to fucking take you to the water?
I said that in about fucking
argumentative
10 different ways, and you don't fucking listen, mate. You're starting to bring up arguments from previous pods which have nothing to fucking do.
All I asked for, give me the justification as to why. And what you fucking want to do is talk about any other coach that didn't win a chip.
Because they're the guys that we're fucking...
for people that got up early to listen to this shit.
Hey, Gavin.
They're enjoying it. We've got fucking noise in the background. We've got kids coming out for waffles. People love this show. It's professional as. Nate, I'm not fucking listening to Boyd anymore. He's cut off.
Do you remember that? There's an episode of Ted Lasso right at the end of one of the seasons, I think it was the last season, where the assistant coach comes up with a play. They win a really important game. And that's the only time that they listen to the assistant coach. He got a little bit of sour grapes because he didn't get his credit, and he fucks off to run another team. I'm sure there's a point to all that, but is Kevin going to fucking leave and go somewhere else, or is he going to stick around and be the ear of the team to a new coach and form a partnership as such or similar?
Well, there's no way that he sits on the bench as an assistant coach if he doesn't get this role, right?
Well, I don't know. That might be the point of why I made a Ted Lasso reference. Thanks for finding one for me, Gav.
I think he's definitely gone if he doesn't get the job. But again, all I'm asking for is I don't give a fuck who coaches as long as they do the job right.
Hey, I can't wait until I join Lisa's Media and get the fuck away from you and your stupid fucking narratives that you feed, and then try and say I'm feeding my own narratives, mate.
Well, this isn't a really good CV for you, bro.
Why are you
me and Paul and Founder are going to Lisa's Media.
Oh my god!
Now the sounds are getting just fucking weird. But so sorry to those people out there. I have got a tradie here trying to fix my son's cupboard, so he's making some noise. I was just asking for justification. You failed to give it to me. Justin came in, fucking gave me a drive-by, hasn't fucking spoken since. Still no one's been able to give me a justification as to why.
What would Booker do? There you go. What would Booker do?
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want. I'm not sold on Nick Nurse either. I'm not sold on getting an experienced coach that's already got the arse. I kind of sit in the Kevin Young camp at the moment.
After all that, after all that,
I do sit in the Kevin Young camp. But they've just got to do their job, right? It doesn't matter who coaches us as long as they do the right thing. Now, with Kevin Young, we've got to surround him with experienced coaches as assistants. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, why not? It'll probably be Fogel. Frank Fogel.
You think Vogel will be an assistant coach? Fogel? Out of what was that movie?
I can't get past Superbad, man. If we get McLovin.
McLovin.
Look, at the end of the day, every coach we're looking at's been sacked.
Yeah, in one way, shape, or form, I guess they have. And I think the interesting thing, did you see Detroit offered Monty a fucking bucket load of cash and he knocked him back?
Yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't want to go to a new job and have a losing season as his first fucking year.
Isn't Detroit a shithole?
Yeah, it is a shithole, I suppose. Yeah,
I mean, say the Australians that have never been there.
Yeah, that's right. None of us have ever been to Detroit, but it's a shithole. So we're all three of us are in the Kevin Young camp, right?
I never said that.
Oh, so what camp are you in, Nate?
I honestly, I'm just waiting, like I said before, for James Jones to pull the mysterious fucking name out the bag none of us have talked about, and we'll all go, fuck, of course it is. I have literally no idea. I don't trust any of these reports.
Do you think the way Ishby is going, he might just fucking owner coach the team?
Well, I mean, the fucking last owner tried, so...
Or James Jones, GM coach?
Well, a free agent who has recently been linked to the Suns in Fred Van Fleet has followed Isaiah Thomas on social media. Therefore, meaning he's just getting in bed with his new coach, right? He's already talked. Isaiah Thomas is still in the background. He's talking to players who he's going to go after. So, mate, maybe that's
well.
Happening.
We've spoken to our friends on Twitter about this in our lovely little Twitter group. And Justin, you might be able to jump in here. I think the comment or the narrative at the moment is that Isaiah Thomas is more likely to take a front office role than he is a coaching role.
And let's just wait for him to respond.
No, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for your comments here.
No, I think the whole Isaiah Thomas thing won't happen just because of the negative press around the guy. And I think Matt Ishbia is probably a bit too smart. If he'll be like a silent fucking advisor to Ishbia himself, if anything, I think. I just don't think he, after all the, bad commentary around Sava over the years, I just don't think it's a road that Ishbia wants to take the franchise down, if you ask me.
And Nate, you still haven't told us who you think
I wouldn't be
believe
surprised.
or want
I would
to
be
coach the
surprised
Suns.
if they take CP3's salary and roll it off the player balance sheet onto the coach's balance sheet, and he becomes the fucking coach next season. Seriously, that's what
player coach, or you think just straight?
No, just roll him off, straight coach. Roll him off the balance sheet. Other side of the ledger. He's on the coaching staff. I wouldn't fucking anything could happen. I wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't surprise me if he did end up becoming an assistant coach that leads into a coaching role. That certainly wouldn't surprise me at all.
And there we are, back to Kevin.
And, CP helping Kevin out. But Nate, you still haven't told us, where are you going? Who's going to coach us next year?
Well, look, if we got rid of Doc, we're only talking about Nick Nurse or
you can say Doc
Kevin.
If you like, as long as it's not Patrick Ewing, like one of our fucking.
Look, I wouldn't be upset if Nick Nurse gets the job. But I did, again, what would Booker do? Yeah, you got to what do Booker and Durant want? Because they're leading the team. The team's built around them. What do they want? Because we're all putting our faith in them.
Is that a problem though? Because part of the narrative is that we want someone to come in and coach these guys, yet we're sitting here going, whatever they want, we'll do. That means they have too much power and too much control, right?
Yeah, but they've got to respect someone. So a lot of these issues will go away if they respect what a coach is telling them. So who are they going to respect? Like, do they want it? Do they want the Kevin Young? Do they want a senior coach? Do they want someone that's won a chip?
Coda Kid just said Ishbia literally would be our version of Jackie Moon, and then it just got me thinking about let's get Jackie Moon. Let's do it.
Dress the players up for the timeout things in there. Well, they did do it in the Big Sun, didn't he? That could work. It's look, again, that's my biggest fear with Kevin Young is he gets the job because the players respect him, but it's more so that the players can control the narrative and dictate what happens out in the court, rather than bringing someone in who's going to stand their ground. I'm not saying that'll happen, but it has to be a concern, particularly because Kevin Durant's come in and Monty's got the arse, just based off the last couple of months.
All right.
Let's talk about some potential trades then, shall we? Let's get off the coaching because we've had our fun. Everyone yelled at me, so you guys got it out of your system. And you'll probably yell at me again now. But potential trades, what have you heard? What's out there? The big one, obviously, this week, and it could potentially roll into the next discussion rather than a trade. But the big one that's out there at the moment is, or the talk on Suns Twitter this week was about Jay Crowder. Now, I'm going to say my piece right now, just so everyone can get there, and this includes your new mate Boyd. Everybody sat there and abused the fuck out of Jay Crowder. Now, don't get me wrong, I did it as well, but I didn't kiss up his ass. All of a sudden, Suns Twitter is fucking adding him on Twitter and sending him messages. Oh, come back, we've got unfinished business, bro. Fucking 2 months ago, you were fucking out there telling the bloke that he was unprofessional and a piece of shit, and then abusing him during the finals when he couldn't get on the court for Milwaukee. I'm firmly in the let's move forward, not backwards. And you guys know from firsthand experience, I hate looking back, right? Everyone keeps talking about Kelly Oubre. Everyone keeps talking about Rubio. Everyone keeps talking about the guys that we used to have. Let's bring them back. Jay Crowder is firmly in that fucking boat now, right? There is no reason whatsoever to bring Jay Crowder back to the Phoenix Suns. We need to be looking somewhere else.
Well, I'm still pissy at him for, being such a little cockhead baby child last season when he could have just played when we needed him. That being said, I mean, I've still got his jersey. I wouldn't mind wearing again. So if he came back for a vet min, I mean, filled the end of the bench and just did about as much as he did in Milwaukee.
Well, is he going to come back for a vet min, given the fact that part of the reason apparently that he left was building or trying to get that payoff contract, right? Boyd?
Yeah, I'd take Jay back. I'm not in your court back there, mate, and I've been very vocal about. I feel like we've really missed his presence. Defensively, if you remember that fucking argument, Gavin, I don't want to rehash it. I'm just saying
you just want him to come back so he can be the next point guard.
I just want him back and what's his name? Fucking Abdel Nader. I want Nader back and Elie Kobo. Bring Ellie back. That's all I want, man. Not
what about you don't want Kelly Oubre?
Isaiah Cannon is another guy.
Yeah, Isaiah Cannon. Yeah, let's bring him back.
He's been playing in China a long time. He's got his confidence now. He's been jumping over these fucking little cunts, and he can, mate. He'll fucking kill it.
You're a fucking idiot. You are a fucking idiot. You're a tool.
But seriously, I'd take him back. Obviously, there needs to be a lot of background shit. There needs to be a lot of clearing the airwaves. There was a lot of fucking radio silence when
apparently it was Monty though, right?
Well, who knows? We don't know that. But if there's conversations that happen in the background where Jay Crowder and the franchise can get on the same page, I loved what he brought on the court. He was very streaky, but I just think that what he brought to us as a defensive whole, and that real grunt guy, that mongrel, I think it's invaluable, and I think it's something we've really missed since he's gone. And I'd take him back so long it was all kosher in the locker room and with the coaching staff. I'd definitely have him back. And I don't look. Leases, yes, Leases did. My future employer, Leases Media, yes, he did backflip. He did backflip. And he did do all that stuff you said, Gav. But cunts, you can change your mind if you want. Who are you to sit there and tell him he can't change his fucking mind? Mate.
Who knew that Boyd would become an ass kisser? Who knew that Boyd would become
me and Lisa
an ass licking, cum sucking? Just
me,
you're disgusting. You make me sick. Don't talk again.
Can we go back to your original question?
Yeah, no.
Well, you set it up just to hear yourself talk.
So I'm going with the whole fact that Jay Crowder, while everyone said the main thing about Jay Crowder was that our squad didn't have a dog. Somebody who gets down and dirty and adds that element of like our Dylan Brooks, our Patrick Beverley, our Grayson Allen type player. And everyone said that Jay Crowder was that. I don't think Jay Crowder was that, personally. I think that his sell on that was overrated. All Jay Crowder ever did was the salsa dance to fucking LeBron at some stage. What did he really do that showed that he had a bit of dog in him?
He was one of the most physical defenders.
Was he? I don't agree with that.
Was he? Well, I don't
agree with that.
Tell you, yes, he was. You don't have to agree with me, mate. You don't have to agree with me, but he was one of our most physical defenders, and he had fucking poise. He had poise. There was never anyone that felt like they were fucking punking him. And whether or not that it didn't have to come in the way of being a grub and pushing a cunt in the back, but he had a demeanor about him on the court, and he instilled not to his level, but he instilled that into his teammates, and they got behind it. I think it was there, mate. I just don't think you're fucking looking hard enough.
Ooh. No.
I've completely lost interest in being on this pod. Why the fuck are we still talking about Jay Crowder?
Well, Boyd loves him, apparently.
Next.
All right. So developments over the last week. What's happening with Chris Paul?
You didn't even answer the first. You started this segment with a question and just so you could talk about Jay Crowder.
Yeah, I said I'm trying to get into the next part because you fuckers
15 minutes.
You're both sitting there. You're both sitting there rubbing your own penises and giving me nothing. I said to you, do you have any other trades or anyone you want to talk about? And you've gone.
And you didn't give us a chance to fucking talk.
That's what I'm getting to. But you fucking jumped. Jesus Christ, I'm sick of you two.
Hey,
what I was trying to get to, let me roll it back, is developments over the last week. Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, what's going on there? What are your thoughts? Do you think either of those two are getting traded?
Yes.
Okay. Expand, Nate. This is a podcast.
All right. So if you go back to that pod where you four dickheads got together and had the terrible audio quality, still better than what's happening behind you today, Gav. You were talking about
crazy.
You were talking about the cap and trades that may or may not happen. And you look at strategically, and I think I messaged you guys afterwards, like listening back to what you said. When we acquired Kevin Durant, all the talk was we're acquiring Kyrie Irving. And then we pull out the Durant trade. I wouldn't be surprised if it was all structured so that Durant came first. Kyrie doesn't want to stay in Dallas. And he does a sign and trade with the Suns, likely for DA. I would not be surprised if that happens and Kyrie Irving becomes our point guard. And then we go hit the market for a new center.
So you're still thinking back to originally what we spoke about with, which is the Kyrie DA sign and trade. You think that's where it's?
I think I would strategically. Not everything happens at once. James Jones does a slow roll. I wouldn't be surprised if that's step 2 of his plan to put KD and Kyrie together with Booker on this team, fix the point guard rotation, and then see what they do with CP3 because he was very underwhelming in the playoffs, to be honest. So,
Boyd.
Yeah, I'm happy to run it back. I'm really exhausted from just thinking about all the different possibilities when we could get a coach that comes in that wants to run with that top 4 that we got now. But look, I unless something like all the chat at the moment with are Boston going to max out Jaylen Brown? Is that their future or that sort of stuff? Do they want to tie up $100+ million in both of them Tatum and Brown contracts moving forward? If there's something like that just falls into our lap and it's and the other team's happy with a DeAndre Ayton or a Chris Paul, look, I can get with that, but I don't want to fuck around with our top 4 just for the sake of fucking with it. And I prefer to go with continuity and just restructure around the edges, unless something big comes along. Like I don't want to move sideways on this shit. I mean, DA, I'm convinced. I'm currently convincing myself that he can do it under a new tutor. So yeah, look, unless it's something big or it's great value in the top end of the draft, and there's something that we know is going to be there. Yeah, I'm happy to run it back, man, and just get the guys that want to come and play with CP, Book, and fucking KD. Maybe a Brook Lopez. I'd love to see a Brook Lopez type come. As long as his back doesn't fuck out on him again. Brook Lopez, someone. It's a good defensive minded players, mate. That's what I'm chasing.
I still, I get the feeling that the Boston thing really relies on what happens out of this series with Miami. Yeah. If they do drop this series, there's going to be changes at Boston. If they make the NBA Finals, probably not as much. But I can't see how we make a trade for somebody like a Jaylen Brown work.
It'd be tough.
I think we're more likely, and honestly, I'm actually kind of with you there, Boyd. I think DA stays. The more this goes on, the more I feel like DeAndre Ayton's just going to stay with the Suns. But I don't think that Chris Paul will. I think the trade will be built around Chris Paul, particularly if Boston loses and they do decide to run with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think that the Malcolm Brogdon thing becomes more and more likely.
Yeah, I'd cop that, but I still place a lot of value in what CP3 does for the culture and his buy-in from both Kevin Durant and Booker. Like the two out of both DA and CP3, KD and Book are all about CP3 over DA. We know that. So I don't disagree with you there either. If they've got say in the matter, I think you find CP3 stays, and then we're back at the DA conundrum.
Well, on that
will
point,
he stay or will he go?
Dylan said a comment in the chat there. What are the crucial dates? So the guaranteed money on CP3's contract's only like 15 mil guaranteed up until what is it, the end of June, 26th of June or some shit like that. And then after that, we either have to, we got to fully guarantee 30 mil after that.
No matter what happens, whether we trade CP3 or not, we're not going to waive the guy. So they will absolutely pick up that contract. It's just a matter of whether or not we trade him out of that. But basically, the crucial dates, Dylan, is July 5th, something like that, I think, is when trades open up. Nate's spot on. I think it's around the back end of June, around the 26th, where the contracts need to become guaranteed. Then you have the free agency period opens early July, and the trade period opens just following that.
Good chat.
Good chat. I think the major talk is probably going to be around Brogdon, thanks to Gambo bringing that up. Is there anybody else out there that you think, and you mentioned one before there, Boyd, Fred VanVleet. Do you think the Suns are legitimately going to try and make some moves potentially with Toronto, who everyone seems to think they're going to blow it up? Which means that Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and who's the other dude there? OG Anunoby are potentially on the table.
OG, Siakam are both ticks for me if there's something that can be worked around that with the pieces we don't want. But Fred VanVleet, I'm scarred from our lead point guard and back issues back from Steve Nash days, man. I do not want to fuck with that guy at all.
It'd be a funny look, though, if we sign Nick Nurse as the head coach and then just these Toronto players just start showing up.
I think it'll be. Again, that's centered around DA, right? Everything would basically come down to DA if we're doing a deal with Toronto.
Likely.
The last one is obviously the talk around Portland and pick 3. There's the DA Portland with what's Anthony.
I don't know. I saw it and didn't like it.
They're sort of talking about. Oh, look, we spoke about it last week. If we can get pick 3 out of DA and we can push for Scoot Henderson, that solves the future point guard problem.
Yeah,
I'd be doing that in a second.
I'm still not convinced that Scoot goes to 3. I think, same as I said last week, I suppose. I don't want to, re-spew all this shit. I just don't think there's a fucking chance in hell that he doesn't go in the top 2. So, and all that fit talk, we already done it, Gav. We don't have to do it again. I'm still in the same camp. I just think that if we do that, we're doing it for that Eton fucking Bates or Miller or someone else who
Bates isn't going top 10, mate.
No, I didn't think so. But he's been trying out with the team.
Yeah, because they're looking at our pick fucking 572 or something.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about the guys that we've looked at. But yeah, Miller, I don't think we do all that moving around. It's not worth us to move.
I don't think we're trading for 3 if it's Miller.
Yeah, and I think it is Miller. So no, I don't think we go that route unless, of course, that number 3 pick, there's a subsequent move that gets us something even better, if that makes sense. If there's another team that highly covets that number 3 pick and we can jag something from them by getting it from Portland. Okay. See, there's so many different avenues this could go down, but yeah, there's a lot
to play out there, right? And I know there's other talk that Detroit would give up pick 5 right now for DeAndre Ayton. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because Detroit just wants to have an entire team of centers.
Yes.
But again, would you? I think, look, Detroit's they're going to move 5, so it's just a matter of what happens there, because I think they're more than content to sit with their pick 10, which they have as part of the trade. But do we trade DeAndre Ayton to Detroit for a pick 5? I mean, it helps us salary wise. I don't know. Potentially, you bring back a Bagley, but I'm just not I'm not big on any of that, really.
Again,
personally,
that also comes back down to, is there a subsequent move to be made that gives us some value for that 5 pick? I don't want to take that 5 pick, and I don't want to fucking develop a guy. Guys up around the top of the draft like that, they need, you best be fucking giving them good rotation minutes, and I just don't see it there at that.
Especially the bigs, right?
Yeah,
that's the concern I have, is that we're going to trade a DeAndre Ayton for a high draft pick and then try and bring a big in to replace that. Now, bigs take time. We see that with Ayton now. It's going to take a hell of a long time for us. We picked fucking Jalen Smith at 10 a couple of years ago, missed out on our backup point guard, and we should have picked fucking Tyrese Halliburton. But
the guy that didn't want to be here.
You've got to pick.
Mine now.
It has to be a deliberate, a really deliberate selection, right? If we're going to take a top 10 pick for a trade, it has to be a really deliberate selection, and it needs to be somebody that can almost go straight into the rotation.
A really deliberate selection would have been starting this pod at 7:30, so I could be watching the Celtic Heat game right now.
Hey
well,
guys,
it's 34-29.
I've actually got a meeting. I've got a meeting I have to get to with Lee's Media right now, so I don't want to fucking miss this one. All right, so no, I've actually got to take my boy to footy. I'm actually I've got to fucking go now. So I will fucking catch you guys later. Bring someone else if you want to try and fill my big ass fucking shoes. But I will see you all later.
See you, buddy.
Love
See you, bro.
Bye.
See you, fucko.
Fucko. What a cock. Thank fuck he's gone. Now we can really talk some basketball.
We might actually wrap this up in 12 minutes now.
Yeah, we might be under the hour. If anyone in the chat wants to ask any questions for me and Nate to answer, or if you want to jump on, please let us know in the chat. Let's roll some questions. If you really, and I agree, Hubo, the pod now finally got good. The Boyd's gone.
Get into the next bit. Let's wrap this up.
Nate.
Next bit's more interesting.
Let's talk about the potential of free agents in the market. The Suns are not in the greatest position when it comes to free agency, and a lot of free agency will depend on what we do in the trade market and how much salary cap we can open up. Mm-hmm. But I asked you to have a look at who's in the market from a free agent perspective and who would you take. So I'm sure you've had a look now. You've had a bit of a research. Who on the free agent market tickles your fancy?
Well, first of all, I want to run a line in the sand, and let's talk about retention. So obviously, for me, Okogie, TC, and Jock are on my retention list, so I'm not going to consider them free agents. When I have a look what's out there, obviously, you don't just say the big names, because we're not going to have enough money to sign the big games in pretty much any situation. And
well,
then you got to
unless we traded DA straight up for pick 5 and cleared 30 mil of cap space,
which is a stupid move. Look, there's 3 names, or there's 4 names I've written down. 3 of them are restricted free agents. So there's also the issue there. The only one that's not as completely unrestricted that I see on there that I like is Seth Curry. I think that the shooting, the guard fit, get the fuck off Shamet already. I know he's like somebody would take that contract surely, and then slot Seth in. I mean, I could just sit here and talk about the Aussies, bring Matisse Thybulle in because, why not have another Aussie on the team?
I don't mind Matisse, though. Matisse is a good call. When it comes to a 3-and-D wing, Matisse is a good call.
Restricted free agent, though, and he's in Portland now, right?
Yes.
The one I did like the idea of Kobe White from a point guard person in the rotation. Again, restricted free agent, probably looking for bigger money than we might have. But, I mean, Kobe, Seth, and Matisse are all there in the free agent list. And there was one floating down also, restricted free agent, PJ Washington, for a power forward fit. He was always fun to watch.
From Charlotte? Yep.
Yeah. So they're the only names I wrote down, just trying to be a little bit realistic, I guess.
This is what happens when Boyd's not on the fucking show. We can be realistic, right? Look, I really, really like the potential fit of Matisse Thybulle, and he's not going to cost a fortune, right? He'd be a nice fit at a nice contract size, and defensively he's very, very good. He's got size. And it's the type of guy that we need to bring in and put around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. He's a much bigger Josh Okogie, and potentially probably a touch better shooter than what Josh is. So he'd be he's a really, really nice fit, I think. Seth Curry, I think, is absolutely one of the players we should be targeting. If we're talking about shooting and putting shooting around Booker and Kevin Durant, Seth Curry has to be someone that we're looking at.
I mean, we spoke after Durant arrived. All we talked about was who's that 4th guy that's going to be off in the corner, completely open, waiting to shoot it.
And even Booker and Durant talk about the gravity and pulling defenses into them. And when we look at the playoffs, those guys, we had guys that just couldn't hit from the corners, right? And
you can see Seth Curry sitting in the corner, and then the guy that rolls off for him to double team looks over and goes, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, and it's you put Seth Curry in that position, and you're looking at 3 to 4 threes a game. He might only score 12 to 15 points, but it's going to be 4 threes, which means that we can continue to spread the floor with Durant and Booker out there and not have that gravity of everybody collapsing on those two, like what happened in that series against the Nuggets, because you can't leave a Seth Curry sitting in the corner wide open. It's just going to impact. Kobe White, Kobe's actually working out at the moment with Chris Paul. I think he'd be a really, really nice fit at the backup guard, and he's another one.
Somebody's working out a week after being ousted or whatever.
Yes.
So he's not in Cancun.
No, Chris Paul's definitely not in Cancun. He was working out with Kobe White. I saw it on Twitter the other day. Another one that can hit the outside shot, keep the floor spread for us. And when he does catch fire, he's a bit of a flamethrower. So he's an interesting one. Couple more names for you. So I think his contract's probably going to be too big in the end, but there's been a lot of talk around this guy, which is Rui Hachimura. Because if the Lakers do go after Kyrie, Rui has to go.
I mean, he did turn up. Everything.
I mean, it's a 3 or 4, right?
A different player in the playoffs, so.
Well, he actually got on the floor, so
yeah, true.
Makes a difference. But I think Rui's an interesting one. But when it comes to free agency, I think there's some teams out there that are going to throw some fairly significant cash at Rui. There was some mention in the Aussie Suns fans chat about Joe Ingles.
just to put another Aussie on the back of the bench. I mean, if he's coming off the 12th roster spot, I'd be more than happy with that. But
let's bring Matisse, Joe, and Paddy Mills in.
Yeah.
Why
just
not?
Bring the whole Boomers squad in and have them playing off the bench.
Yeah, they can't win a fucking medal at the Olympics, but let's bring them all in to win a title at the Suns.
Well, Delhi's available because Delhi's just signed in the NBL, so he's got his NBA clause. He's got his NBA clause.
Never coming back to the NBA again. We've got to let Delhi go. He needs to play in the NBL. Karis LeVert. Thoughts?
Look, I mean, I used to love having him in my fantasy team because you always get him a good value for what he produces. He was never bad. He wasn't always consistent. I mean, there's other names I'd rather, but he's not upsetting. If I see his name rock up on our roster come announcement time, I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Cam Reddish.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that one. He's a restricted free agent too, and he's just coming off his rookie contract, or has he already been extended?
He's coming off it, I believe, $4 million.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not sold on his whole work ethic. I just don't think he'd be a fit with our guys.
If we trade DeAndre Ayton, there's a couple of very, very nice centers out there that would probably fit really well with the KD and Booker rotation. So let's just throw a couple of those names out there. We've got Jakob Poeltl.
I mean, I don't dislike the guy. He was a major piece in that trade for the big glove. But again, how much is he going to cost? And is that who you really want to see as our starting center? I mean, I don't want to see it. Not as a starter, but he was producing last year until he ended up on the bench in LA.
Jackson Hayes.
Now, is he a true center though? Or is he a power forward center, more like an Anthony Davis build?
Yeah, I see him more as a center than a power forward personally. But to be honest, I sort of he's slipped out of the rotation there now, and probably who was that guy we coming? I think he might be at the Warriors now. The big center we had for a little while there, and he could jump, he could block, but he was fucking useless. Athletic as hell. That's how I see Jackson Hayes. Really athletic, everything, but he really has nothing overall.
I know you guys talk about it on every pod, but Coda Kids brought it up again.
I was going to bring that one up.
100% on board for that one.
So this one here, this is one, but it's got to be a trade. And I would absolutely love Stephen. He'd be the ideal center on this Suns roster, Stephen Adams. But
perfect fit for the culture, too.
It has to be around trades, right?
And that guy's sick of being around a bunch of children. He really is.
Yeah. And look, Memphis have already come out and said they want to trade him so that they can get more center minutes into Brandon Clark. Is it Clark? Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Like 5'8", 6'8", rather.
No. He's tall enough, but they want to use a smaller lineup.
Right.
The other one mentioned here by Howard is Naz Reid. Now, Naz has some hustle, don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's the right fit. He kind of reminds me of Montrezl Harrell, where he's just going to be one of those centers that has some okay, decent games, but then effectively you want him out of the rotation.
I think I just really want to see a good old-fashioned traditional center still on this team. If it's not going to be DA, someone like the whole that whole trade Valanciunas for Steve Adams back when it happened. Although they've just traded the same piece with each other, but it seemed to work for both of them.
Yeah. So if you bring in a Steven Adams type, and I think Jakob Poeltl is very similar, just that really solid screen and roll type guy that just attacks the boards. That's what we need in a center. We don't need someone that spreads the floor. We don't need Karl Anthony Towns who has to have the ball in his hand all the time. Someone that can come up, screen, roll, dunk the ball, and rebound the fucking ball. If we're moving on from DA, that's what we want. And that's why Steven Adams would be the perfect fit.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a trade. Anyone else you want to mention, Nate?
No.
You happy with that? The other one you mentioned was PJ Washington. I do like PJ as well. I do think that his contract on the free agency market is going to be
hefty,
fairly significant, though. There's going to be some contenders that want to throw some coin at PJ. I'd love it if the Suns was one of those, but I just can't really see it happening myself. Hey, Nate.
I would kill everyone in this room for a drop of sweet beer.
So, Homer, please feel free to tell us anything.
Who do you want to have a beer with?
Just because you said you don't want to talk about him anymore, I want to say Monty. I want to sit down and go, what the fuck happened, bro? Seriously, what the fuck happened? Talk to me. I want all the secrets. I want who actually sacked you? Who gave you the news? Did you find out on Twitter? Things like that.
You just want the background story, right?
Yeah, I want the truth. Who doesn't? Everyone likes hearing all the dirty little secrets that come out.
We don't tend to hear that out of the Suns. It's definitely all silent on the Western Front when it comes to the Suns. So no, that's not a bad shout. I had Monty last week as my who do I want to have a beer with as well. For me, and Coda Kids mentioned it, shout out to the late great Tina Turner, an absolute goddess of the music world. I'd love to have a beer with Tina. Rest in peace, Tina. Well done. Nate.
Time for the flog of the week. And trust me, they are ugly. Very unattractive. Google their face when you're done here.
Who's your flog of the week, Nate? I love these hat changes too. The costume changes.
I've just been working. A total cockhead today.
They're working. They're working.
Mate, you're my flog.
Thank you.
For organising a pod at 7:30 in the morning in Singapore, then actually showing up at 10 to 8 and then delaying it till 10 past 8. And now I've missed the whole quarter of the game.
Well, it's halfway through the second quarter now, right?
Yeah, so you're a bit of a flog for that, to be honest.
That's all right. I'm copying this left, right, and centre because I did this to Justin as well. So
nice. I said to Boyd before while we're waiting for you, Justin's going to have a field day with this. I do have proper flog though. Other than that, I was serious about that though. My flog of the week is every NBA player posting selfies at Cancun the day after they failed to deliver for their teams.
Don't want to expand on that. That's just it.
Oh, how many? Even yesterday there was pictures showing up of LeBron in Cancun smiling, doing selfies. I don't want to see people on a beach happy that they just fucking lost. So they're my flogs.
Well, that means you would have loved the vision of Luka running up and down stairs.
I did not see this vision you speak of.
Yeah, so Luka's out there working out, and obviously the NBA media world are basically rubbing one out about it. If he's working this hard, he's going to be the MVP next season. Well, in all due respect, that's what he's supposed to do.
He looks like a little version of the MVP this season.
When you're getting paid fucking millions and millions of dollars to be a top line NBA player, you're supposed to be working out. Fucking hell.
You should also be a player that other players want to be around.
That's true too, which clearly doesn't happen in Dallas. My flog of the week is anybody who bagged the fuck out of Jay Crowder and is now on Twitter kissing his ass. Seriously, get yourself a fucking position and stick to it. Don't turn into a fucking ass kissing piece of, like, it's so frustrating. There was a reason we bagged Jay Crowder out, because of his attitude. Now, everybody's turning around and going, well, maybe it was Monty's fault. No, the motherfucker was on $10 million. He should have rocked up to fucking work. Simple as that. Not sit at home. I don't give a fuck whether your coach is a problem. Guess what? We all work in day-to-day fucking jobs where we have managers that are difficult. But we fucking rock up and work. We don't sit at home and go, I'm not going because that manager's mean to me. Don't kiss his ass. There's a reason we fucked him off, and I do not want that motherfucker back. He has a poor attitude. We don't need it. I am going to make a big statement. I'm going to make a big statement right here. And this is something that, so press record, people at home, because this is something I'll never, ever probably say again, but maybe I'll say it again next week. I would take Dylan Brooks before I took Jay Crowder back.
You got a little bloody crush on old boy Brooks, don't you?
No, I can't stand the worm-looking motherfucker. I want to punch him in the face. But I would take him before I took Jay Crowder. That's how strongly I feel about the way he behaved when he was in Phoenix before the trade. It's time to move on, people. Let Jay Crowder go, because he let himself go, because he's no good. And I am sure as shit not paying somebody between $8 and $10 or $12 million to come and sit on our bench, come out, brick threes, and pretend he's a tough guy on defense when he's really not a tough guy. Because if you all remember back to when fucking Nikola Jokic was running around clotheslining our blokes, it wasn't Jay Crowder that got in his face. Jay stood at the other end of the fucking court. It was Devin Booker that got in his face. And it was Devin Booker that fucking turned around and told Jokic's brothers to go fuck themselves, while Jay hit at the other end of the court. He's not a tough guy. We don't need him. Anyway, that's my rant. I really wanted that rant.
No cap.
No cap. Fuck you, Jay Crowder.
Call it.
Last comments, Nate.
You know, you think I'd have some? No, I'm good. I want to go watch this game.
Where do we find you? You told us you were going to get more active on Twitter. Send us a message in our group chat once every 4 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Where do we find you?
I'm on there on the Twitter. Eventually, I get back to my messages.
On the Twitter. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff for us. Hook us up, people. You know, we need more subscribers. We need more likes. And we definitely need some more comments on our YouTube videos, because at the moment, as I say every week, the only person commenting on our video is Boyd about himself. And we can't have that. We need you guys to support us and drown Boyd out, for fuck's sake. Clearly, our pod got better when he left.
Well, he's still in the chat, though.
Yeah, he is still in the chat. Fucking annoying prick.
He's supposed to be watching his boys play football, but he's still just sitting in there shitting on people.
At Aussie Suns Fans on YouTube, at Aussie Suns Fans on Twitter. Follow, like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. Ultimately, fuck you, Boyd. We're not here to fuck spiders. Love you guys. We will see you next week, if I get here on time.
As Chris Paul gets in, another wide open three.
Suns. Pierre Cardin. Suns.
Defers to Booker for the long range.
Phoenix. Phoenix Suns, and you know we up next. Yeah, we working for that championship ring. We the valley, it ain't nothing but a thing. Phoenix. Phoenix Suns, and you know we up next. Yeah, we working for that championship ring. We the valley, it ain't nothing but a thing.